going up quite a lot in picks and bans this weekend here in the NALCS.
Yep. And there's Alistar and Swain locked in for Echo Fox. Curiously, Zoe still not picked up just yet. Thieves wanted to secure what looks like maybe Xayah Rakan together on their side. And this actually kind of pinches Lost Champion Pool some more. I said his 3 games were on Varus. His only other game was on Xayah, with Varus taken up, unlikely to pick that champion. So maybe trying to test Lost and make him a bit more uncomfortable on the stage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I mean, he had played a number of different champions, obviously, in the Academy League throughout the season. But as his coach said, Varus was his most comfortable. He looked best on it. The 3 games that he had won lane were all on Varus. It's ended up doing well in the Xayah game regardless, but didn't have as strong of a laning phase. So I think it's smart for teams to kind of push him off some of that comfort and see how he can perform outside of those picks. Make him show you something.
Ooh, there we go.
Oh, the locked in Yasuo.
Right, they went for Alistar already seeing Rakan, which means they were hoping to get a counterpick going. Zoe, obviously the cream of the crop mid laner everyone thinks of. Zoe grabbed in for Rio, instant lock. Damonte wants to Yasuo into that one. So a counterpick can be fun to watch for.
Yeah, we actually just got to see this matchup earlier today. I believe Perks actually did play it into Zoe, and it went pretty well for him, if I'm recalling that game correctly, or maybe it was into Rise. But anyway, we did see Perks Yasuo earlier today. It's possible that this could still go top lane. You're certainly expecting to be in bin lane into the Zoe, and expecting now that this is going to be a Swain top. But again, Echo Fox does have flexibility, and it's interesting because we have mostly seen Swain as a bot lane carry throughout Professional League of Legends in this split. But Lost has been playing mostly marksman. That has kind of been the Echo Fox style. So I am expecting these to be solo lane flex. Based on what the picks are, they could move things around.
Yeah, curious to see what comes through into this one. Ban still following through. Thieves have one more ban until the second round of picks. And I want to see if Lee Sin comes through. It's a champion we've seen a little bit of in Academy and across the world. And Echo Fox's Dardoch, known as the cleanest Lee Sin NA in his own words. And as we see several junglers kind of get dropped at the table, there's a decent chance that shows up here with Gragas now gone as well.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I mean, the Trundle ban to me always kind of says, hey, I want to play Sejuani or something.
Yay!
You fouled it, Phreak. Also, it works very well with the Yasuo, right?
Yeah.
You can actually, at level 6, show up. Your ultimate will be able to set up for that ultimate from Yasuo. They also have the setup on the Alistar as well. And I'm not sure, does the pull actually count as when you pull them back as Swain with the passive?
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone can set up for the Yasuo ultimate so far in this draft. And it does put a lot of pressure on Damonte if he's going to be the one playing it. And kind of as predicted, it is going to be a tank picked up here for Ssumday. As soon as you see a Trundle ban, I'm expecting them to want to be going towards a tank. So, nothing too unexpected here, but just the jungle remaining now here for Onda.
Yep, and they're going to flex things around. So I think it's ChoGath jungle and Poppy into the top lane, which I think is actually very, very strong.
Poppy jungle is actually, I've been seeing it a decent bit in pro play.
Okay.
I think it's actually better, but both of them are kind of like, they work, but they're not amazing.
Yeah, I thought ChoGath jungle's always been quite good. I did not realize Poppy jungle was a thing, so that's one to watch out for. Echo Fox going to switch things around. This one will not have the knockup, no Malphite. To be fair, wouldn't have been good in a ChoGath, I don't feel like, but either way, a Mundo for the top lane. And of course, Lost is on a mage down here. Unless you're flexing the Yasuo to him, we're seeing Swain, Alistar bot lane with that Yasuo going mid versus Zoe as we saw earlier. And this is going to be the first Lee Sin in the NALCS this split. Thank you, Stats, for the heads up on that one. And this is going to be exciting.
It's looking like Poppy jungle as well. So, that is what I thought. Even just looking at solo queue stats, it's a 51.3% win rate for Poppy. ChoGath is actually tied for the lowest win rate of champions that are being tracked in the jungle. So it makes sense to be playing that Poppy jungle. I think it is very, very strong, both against the Lee Sin and the Yasuo. Being able to use that heroic presence can be pretty powerful there to interrupt any of the dashes from the Yasuo, the Q in from that Lee Sin.
Yep.
And this is going to be a 100 Thieves game where they, again, want to go late. They want to have that marksman take over.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff, though, from Echo Fox. It's been a while since we've seen any mages, really, in the NALCS bot lane. So Lost bringing it out, and this is something that he now has an opportunity to prove himself on a new kind of class of champion, right? If he can show a really strong game on Swain here, we know he can crush on Varus. We know he had that strong game on Xayah as well. If he can show this here, too, that just makes it even harder to do drafts against Echo Fox, and they're already such a flexible team.
Gonna be fun to watch for. Here we go into our game. Welcome to game 1 of the day. 100 Thieves and Echo Fox. Only a single game behind first place right now. These teams tied for second.
Man, I'm so excited for this game.
I am too.
I'm just looking at the champions again. If you're not hyped, you're not breathing. I mean, this is going to be a pretty sick one. Yasuo, Lee Sin. We got the Swain, Alistar. Such an explosive combo here.
Azael, I got more for you.
Okay.
So, Anda played one game of Poppy Jungle earlier this week, and he went Warrior, Guardian Angel, Sterix, full damage.
Okay.
Other people were doing tank. They're going Cinder Hulk, but we've seen some Warrior Poppies in solo queue as well, so I want to see full aggro.
I'd be really excited to see that. I don't know that we will, especially when you're playing, you know, with a hyperscaling kind of crit marksman here. I think that, you know, he's going to want to kind of be that front line. You have Onda and Ssumday as that front line, Aphromoo for the hard engage, Ryu is your poking, your consistent damage is going to then be Cody Sun.
Sure.
But hey, especially if you're having a good game, I think if you get a quick start, maybe you do go for a bit more damage. You know, I have seen people even doing stuff like Triforce Poppy.
Right.
I have seen much more aggressive Poppy top builds where people are more commonly going things like Carry and Ignite even. So there is room to go for that aggressive style of Poppy, and you're dueling in corridors against someone like Sin is actually pretty strong, because if you invade and you're fighting in the jungle, there's a lot of walls that you can slam them against. You're denying that kind of Q from flying through and actually connecting with that resonating strike. So definitely potential to go aggressive.
Of course, Anda doing what you should expect with the Talisman. Pretty big AoE with the Q, hit everything, clear through the Raptors. Dardoch, though, going for more single target focus clear. Could be red into blue into Scuttle without much issues. Got some pings down there already versus a more full clear from Anda on this Poppy. Now, looking at Anda's interaction with other champions, 3 of them can be stopped by Steadfast Presence.
Yep.
The Dr. Mundo and the Swain don't have any dashes, so only affects part of the team, but worth keeping in mind that he can stuff Yasuo, he can stuff Alistar.
Yeah, and another really important part, you know, while he doesn't have a dash to actually stop on Swain, the Poppy ultimate is one of the most frustrating things to actually deal with as a Swain player, because you need to get in the middle of the team to be really effective with that ultimate, life draining off everyone, setting up for your, you know, big AoE explosion with that R2. And Poppy ultimate can just reject you straight out of the fight and kind of make that ultimate not worth very much. So certainly a lot of playmaking ability. Early ganks are not powerful, but I mean, this is smart. He knows that Lee Sin's probably not going to want to go for those Raptors early on, so he can just walk over, steal away a camp.
This is actually really nice. I agree with you, Azael, and it's going to be a potential full camp lead based on what else is cleared away. But yeah, Anda delaying his blue buff quite a lot, and he'll pick that up a bit later on. And there'll be one less camp as Lee Sin can clear. He's almost out of camps, actually. Wolves and then Krugs are the last one.
Yeah, and Ssumday has that warded out, so they're going to know exactly where Dardoch could be. If Dardoch does not show on top side, he is ganking, right? So you have to then be careful. There's only one camp on the whole map that is up, so they are given a lot of information because of this.
Wow. She backs off his own Krugs as well. I think he thought he was warded, and of course Ryu's walking up right here, so Ryu will not spot the Lee Sin itself. Dardoch gets around that vision, but he'll still walk by a Trinket Ward going for Krugs.
Yeah, exactly. And so now he has kind of delayed this a little bit further. He's trying to take it very safely, but spotted out. Anda's just continuously kind of clearing away. He is a little bit ahead on that clear, and as a Poppy, you're going to be happy to kind of just trade farm in the early levels. Poppy is certainly not a ganking jungler. It's much more about the team fights. It's much more about the utility and that frontlining later.
A lot of damage right there on that front line as Aphromoo chunked on a half HP and has to walk away. No Ignite used just yet on either side, and yeah, Smoothie coming out better on that one.
Yeah, Smoothie definitely getting the best of that one. We'll see, though. If Aphromoo can hit some Qs, definitely look to heal back up, and I think that they can play this lane, you know, fairly well in the 2v2. You know, mages generally, people talk a lot about the mage boss being able to kind of bully marksman in the early game, but Xayah Rakan is such a strong 2v2 that I'm not really sure it's the case. And you can see that Aphromoo kind of, I think as a result of perhaps the way that this lane would have to play out, like for Echo Fox to win, I feel like they have to all in. So he's going Guardian, that is a more defensive option. And you know, playing a little bit more passively with the coin, he's not going Spell Thieves or anything more aggressive like that. I think that all makes sense. You know, kind of playing to your opponent's win conditions. But Dardoch is down here, and they will have strong gank assists.
Is he going to wait the 8 seconds for his W to come back up from cooldown, or will they go early? Right now, the 100 Thieves backing off, and in fact, they're getting farther away. They're getting towards their own turret. With the wave reinforcing, yeah, this can't. I don't think you dive at level 4, but they're walking forward. Yeah. With Aftershock Alistar, maybe, but this seems risky, or he's waiting for the counter gank. The root comes in, but no follow-up through, which means Anda is not here. Dardoch is just waiting to make sure they're safe. They are, so a bit of time spent, but there's no camps up. He didn't lose anything by safeguarding his laners. He'd already gotten the recall off, so just smart jungle pathing, making sure there's no dive, and out they go.
Yeah, exactly. That really was just mostly about any potential counter gank, right? Because they're pushing up. If Anda is there, hey, you turn it around. But Anda, the scuttle spawns on top side. He has already gone back to base. He's working towards that Cinder Hulk, so we know it is not going to be a warrior. And he is ahead. I mean, he is about a quarter into that level 5. Dardoch has not hit level 5 just yet. He's going to try to steal away Raptors again, and likely going to have them pretty quickly. Or he has Smite, so if he tries to Smite it, yeah, it's already gone before Dardoch gets there. This is some very successful early game jungling from Anda.
Jeez. And second time, Dardoch goes, wait, where'd my chickens go? There's been a wolf in my hen house. They're all gone. And nicely done by Anda. Even the defensive trinket ward made sure he was safe. Ooh, missed the cannon, unlucky, but okay, he's still level 6, and Dardoch, yeah, just back to the grind, kind of farm out. But yeah, level 4 Lee Sin, nowhere close to being sort of gank ready here. Yeah, really good early pathing.
It's time for Anda to just cover him, right? Because he's saying, okay, there's not much for me to do. There's no jungle camps out on the map. All Dardoch could really do is look to gank, and he's just kind of hanging around because of that. He's actually going to spot Dardoch now. We'll see if they want to try to go for any sort of fight. They could potentially dive Damonte. I mean, if you get a flash stun on Damonte there, he is in kill range, but would be a bit of a risk.
Anda gets the controller taken away. Damonte puts Dardoch puts a defensive trinket ward down and goes back for his own jungle. So maybe the bleeding can stop for now unless Anda wants to flash over a wall or blast into that play. And he will try. Smites up, gets it. Big Krug goes over to Poppy. And that is even more taken away.
Is playing so well, and he's level 6 off that now. He really is holding Dardoch down. This has to be frustrating for Dardoch. And Huni over here also got to be careful, Huni.
Not quite the stun. That was very close to being maybe very painful. Could have been a good chain of damage, of course. No Cho ult up, but it gives time for Dardoch to go back for his own red buff. So he again gets to kind of stop the bleeding, catch up and farm. Yes, he's still down 2 to 3 camps, but with that red, he's in a decent spot.
Getting the ult out of Mundo is pretty nice. That means there's not really any chance of Mundo kind of going aggressive on the ChoGath, and if you go for a return gank, maybe once somebody has his feast, there's a possibility of getting a kill there. But again, the plan here for 100 Thieves is to play it slow, to wait for a late game, to give time for those items. I think as long as Anda knows where Lee Sin is, he is happy. He doesn't have to pull off a single gank this game to win this game. He really just has to keep a good idea of where Lee Sin is, either get vision on him, be in position to counter gank, wait for Cody Sun to get strong. Your 5v5, I think, is going to be a lot easier to pull off as 100 Thieves than it is on EchoFox's team. It's going to depend more on playmaking for them, so they're comfortable waiting late. I mean, that's how they like to play their games. They like to very slowly kind of grind out advantages and wait until they have these fights that they feel are guaranteed wins.
And 100 Thieves, always, as you mentioned, happy to play slow, and as they do scale up, their farm is equal basically everywhere. The gold, actually 600 ahead. A lot of that, of course, is Anda in the jungle. His individual lead is about 500, so that is most of the heavy lifting. A scuttle this time does go to Dardoch. He is 6th in the lead Sin, so some elements of usability here for the red side. But yeah, 100 Thieves, as you're saying, game going according to plan. EchoFox, though, not too bad about scaling themselves. We're seeing a Rod of Ages build for the Swain, so that's going to be a bit of growth coming in for him as well. EchoFox don't seem to be trying to rush the plays, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's by no means are they going to get outskilled, in the next 10 minutes or anything like that. It's going to be a long time, but generally I do favor the team with a marksman in late game team fights, especially when they have strong frontline and setup. I think that's easier to pull off. If you get that perfect combo, though, if they can catch Ryu or Cody Sun, kick them in, combo them up, burst them down with a Yasuo, certainly there is always potential there from EchoFox, and I think their skirmishing is going to be really, really strong on 1-2 items also here. Once you have, Roa and Zhonya's on Lost and Damonte is on, PDIE, that kind of timing, I think they really do excel and could look to win a lot of those team fights.
And right now, no team fights to be had. Almost 10 minutes in, no first blood, and nothing really even looked like a gank, only backfilling lanes to make sure people feel safe, and it is just people trading farm back and forth. Dardoch pretty close, once again on gold though, only 2 CS down. Here comes the first maybe real attempt at a kill as Huni will be flanked. He will be able to chain hard crowd control. A snapcast pop ult into ChoGath Q would be something. And right now, waiting around, puts the Ghost Pearl behind him, and now looks like maybe the play. Huni 1.5 HP, pops the ult, nice flash, gets away from the charge. And that will be a knockup, but is it going to be enough damage afterwards? A chain of CC, trying to have enough with the ult. Is it going to be enough with Feast? And it is the first blood in the top lane. Ssumday grabs 400 gold.
So nicely done there. They know their limits, and that is 2 tanks. They can take so many tower shots. Chasing in onto Huni, they get the flash, they get the ult, the first blood, and the Feast stack. So really could not have gone better there. for the 100 Thieves. It was a good flash from Huni to actually avoid being knocked up, and then the snapcast ult. So now he has the aftershock, so ridiculously tanky for that turret, and Ssumday just waiting, making sure he has enough to actually get that kill with the feast. And he didn't even bot there. Like, so those top laners were pretty kind of weak at that point. They both go back to base, buy up a full item now, and Ssumday's gonna be feeling good about that one.
And of course, it is going to be full tank out of Anda right here, at least to start out. That is a Cinder Hulk on him. But yeah, as you're mentioning the buys coming through, Huni actually had a TP back to lane to catch the farm. Ssumday actually walked and lost almost nothing. So now teleport advantage for the 100 Thieves top laner. Remember, a 6-minute teleport cooldown, so quite a while until Huni can help a side lane. This could help 100 Thieves find more to do.
Yeah, they could look potentially for a dragon, but it's actually Echo Fox starting that up. They know that they have kind of the preferential base timings from their bottom lane. Loss is already back out on the map with his completed Roa. You can see Smoothie already out there getting vision for them. So this is going to kind of be their reward from the pressure they have on the bot side of the map. But you know, both bottom lanes are going to be pretty close as far as actual combat potency. Cody Sun already has the Stormbrazer completed and looking pretty good.
Ryu getting around that wind wall there. Okay, so Mountain Drake picked up is a nice to have. Doesn't mean much once you're actually winning the game, but could come into play later. Damonte starting to take a little bit of poke. He's slightly down in lane, but Zoe we kind of know tends to be a lane bully. This is not too much of a surprise, and this Yasuo is still scaling.
Yeah, and the Yasuo I think is doing pretty well, all things considered, especially when Anda kind of has had that jungle priority. You have to play perhaps a little bit more safely. You don't want to be going too aggressive, and if you're not going aggressive on the Yasuo, it's going to be hard against any ranged matchup to really get any sort of farm advantage. But again, Damonte, it's important that he keeps that farm up. It's important that he has a strong set of items and gold to work with, because so much of the team is about setting up.
One more auto. It's almost he's trying to reach in through it. He's going to outreach in the auto attack. Ssumday just slightly short on the damage. Flash down.
Yeah, barely didn't get him, but if you don't kill him with the initial burst, the healing from the ultimate is too much to actually finish off. So close one from Ssumday. Would have been big because, as you pointed out, no TP was available, so he would have been losing those minions, losing that experience. Instead, not able to get it.
Dardoch denies 14 gold from his mid laner by auto-attacking a caster minion. Not the end of the world. Still bootsless, though, on this Lee Sin, and now here comes 4 into the mid lane, trying to make the play happen. Quick windwall comes in, finds the bubble. The charm, the knockup, but don't. Damonte's going to flash away, Ignite is on, no damage is in, and Anda is going to grab himself the second kill of the game. That chase through worked nicely.
Yeah, Damonte responding about as well as he can, though. You know, windwalling it off, blowing both the summoners at good timings, trying to get away. They're going to give Ryu solo first gold here, as the nice 4-man roam pays off with a kill, pays off with a turret. 100 Thieves opening up a pretty sizable lead, and so much of this has been off the back of Anda. This guy has really been having an extremely impressive jungle performance. You know, it's 1-0-1. It's not the most exciting scoreline, but he has been controlling the pace of this game. And once more, 4-man squad come in. The sleep is actually landed there, cleansed out. The flash comes through. I think that, did Cleanse give a little bit of invulnerability to do the ultimate right after that?
It gives tenacity, so he got to get out of the charm and then flash before the knockup came through.
So nicely played by Damonte, but still not enough to actually get away. There's too many members from 100 Thieves, and it's a good roam.
Yeah, and they can't go for the Rift Herald quite either, so Echo Fox kind of losing out on every turn now. They're trying to make some plays. They've gotten the Mountain Drake. That is one thing to their credit, which may pay off later on, but otherwise, as you're mentioning, it's kind of all Anda and all 100 Thieves all the time. Now Huni in another bad spot, gonna be knocked up. Is it enough for the feast? Not quite yet. About 800 up here. And here comes the flank, 2v3 to have the burst for the ChoGath. They'll kick him in, and yes they do. But the re-engage comes across. A knockup for Yasuo, and now Cody Sun back and forth, finds won the kill in this one, 3-1 in this fight, but the Xayah goes down as well, and in fact Echo Fox find a good fight, but Anda now back in the mix, puts the Q down, finds a knockup. Can they chase down Damonte as Ryu is in the Zoe, getting blocked out by the minions though, and now poor Smoothie trying to run on this Alistar, does flash away, but the damage could be enough. In the fog of war, finds a headbutt, still goes down. A 2-2 fight, so now the rest of the squad's coming around. Swain has arrived, and he wants to get some glory for Noxus, will get that kill, and it is Echo Fox who goes up 1 kill in the trade.
Yeah, and the shutdown from Poppy going on to Damonte just where you would want it. Echo Fox making the proactive play, 100 Thieves committing to that fight regardless, but they were the slower ones to the play. Ssumday was getting knocked down before they really got involved, and Cody Sun not able to hit his ultimate to actually avoid that knockup and subsequent ultimate there from Damonte, it looked like. So that was big. We'll have to see in the replay exactly what it was that knocked up Cody Sun, because that really was a critical moment in that fight. Here is the initial play. 100 Thieves are anticipating this, but it comes in perhaps a little bit quicker than expected. 3 members already on him. Let's see what actually knocks up Cody Sun here. He flashes in, just gets kicked. Straight kick, so nothing he could have actually done unless he preemptively ulted that. Didn't get hit by a Yasuo Tornado. But with him going down, Onda coming in, but there's not really enough consistent damage to kind of very easily win this fight. And then Ryu looking for more, trying to hit those paddle stars, but the minions are in the way. They're not able to actually get through on any of these prime targets. You can see he's actually suiting his sleep over trying to catch Damonte or Huni, but as they commit too far forward, Anda's kind of locked in there and lost with a nice DP to get another kill for the team. So 10 men top in what was an all-out brawl on the top side. But Echo Fox definitely coming out on top as Damonte now is done his PD and working likely towards perhaps an IE. He could be going a bit more of a defensive route. We have seen some people go PD Sterix into Frozen Mallet and these sorts of things, but depends where he wants to go.
Yeah, a lot of options there. Even Ruin King pretty solid against the double tank lineup here. Center Hook with ChoGath, but yeah, lots of options here. Wait to see what it ends up being. 2,000 gold, 2.5 really is still the difference. 100 Thieves off to a great start with first turret and better farm. And as the lanes move around, it's Lost playing top lane, but despite the duo up there, 100 Thieves duo is the one able to run around the map as they shove in and go for this Rift Herald. On a ward, Echo Fox may indeed stop them as they wait to hit the weak spot and get that down to half HP, but here comes the collapse. 4 versus 4 inside this river.
TP is available. Huni's running up, though.
Knock him in the front line. They can try to burn us. Smoothie pops the ult, and Alistar stays alive. Another knock him in the back line, and the ult in for Swain as well. The re-engage comes across. Dardoch low on health. He's got to be a bit careful. This one kicks in the wall, but goes down. Cody Sun finds himself that kill, and the ult from Yasuo not going to be enough. More than just the one trade for one. Herald goes down towards the blue team, and now a second kill comes in as Yasuo's going to fall 2-1 in favor of 100 Thieves as a chomp comes through into Damonte. And now Echo Fox running back with the 3 surviving members. A great fight for the blue team.
And they got the Rift Herald there as well, I do believe. So that is, oh no, did Echo Fox get it? Yeah, Echo Fox must have got it. They're actually just guarding it. So Echo Fox did get the last hit. We'll see if they can actually secure the Rift Herald buff. A nice fight there, though, 400 Thieves. Echo Fox is able to actually focus down Anda, but Anda's so tanky. He took so long to actually get knocked down, and the Lee Sin kick into ultimate combo from Yasuo was used on Anda there. So once you expend a lot of those ultimates, a lot of those initial abilities, if you can't get it on Cody Sun, they're going to have the damage kind of grind you out in a long fight.
And the map's getting ground out right now by 100 Thieves as well. Now 2 turrets to 0, and that Herald, of course, will not turn into much of anything other than a little bit of global gold. We watch this fight one more time as slowly but surely Echo Fox charges in, but a way better team fighting out 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Anda creating so much space here for the team. You can see that Ryu poking out Dardoch, almost one comboing him there. There's very little threat onto Cody Sun here. And it's actually, let's see who last hits that. It was actually Swain, I believe, who last hit the Rift Herald there. So they do get that gold, but they lose 2 kills. It is a shutdown kill as well for Ssumday. And they're not able to pick up that Rift Herald eye. So critically, that buff will just be lost. No gain there for Echo Fox.
Nope, no one's wearing that one. So back we go onto the map, though. Echo Fox, of course, very willing to scrap. Interesting stat I saw coming into this game. 100 Thieves have the highest kill-to-death ratio in the North American LCS. Echo Fox is the second lowest. They actually die more than they kill. These times, of course, these teams, of course, still tied for second place. This goes to show the different sort of play styles here. Echo Fox are willing to scrap all the time, of course. And down to kills, no surprise. But, of course, a game that's still very close and can be won. Zonya's Hourglass not far away for Lost. Going to be a big deal, and it is the push towards Ruin King for Damonte.
Yeah, and Ruin King to me tells me he wants a split push more than actually straight up team fight. I feel like often going for the IE for more straight up team fight first is stronger if you want that route. 100 Thieves looking for a fight. Nice win wall.
And ooh, nice W by Anda as well. Gets away from the headbutts of Smoothie. Out of engage. Throws the ult's going to time out. They're going to go for the hard engage. Going to try to knock him down. Try to pick that kill up. And they're almost going to get him, but Smoothie able to walk back. And now Anda frontlining at half HP. Going to find some damage onto him. Slowed down. He's got cleavers in the back of his head. That poor Yordle going to stay alive, though. And now a knock up on Mundo. Pops the stopwatch to stay alive. But Ssumday's in the back lines. Could chase down. Goes to the kickback. And he cannot quite get it. The ult came out in time from Cody Sun. And Dardoch will go down.
Yeah, and Anda got the stun onto Dardoch there so quickly. So Dardoch just getting shut down by the Poppy, by the Xayah ultimate. That was a close fight. Started out so well, looked like 400 Thieves, but Anda almost going down as 100 Thieves on the push, though. They have the heavy HP advantage after this. They will get another turret here and really starting to feel like they are taking over. But we'll see what the game plan is for Echo Fox, because I really think they could go for a 1-3-1 style of game if they want. You know, with Damonte and Huni kind of splitting in those side lanes. Bladed Ruin King really does make me think that he wants to go for that style, but we will see this fight one more time. 100 Thieves, catching them on a ward. Good poke started out. It was a nice wind wall from Damonte, preventing a lot of that initial damage, but then Onda with that heroic presence, denying Smoothie's engage. Aphromoo gets in, charms up all 4, and it starts to actually look a little bit bad here for 100 Thieves because Lost have been creating some space there with the Swain ultimate, but as Anda flashes out, you can see the pullback from Cody Sun, rooting up multiple members, and then as Dardoch goes in, watch the Xayah ultimate, and also the stun right away from Anda, straight onto him, stuns him into the wall.
Yeah.
Good reactions from both of those players, getting the shutdown kill onto Dardoch. That is, really what you're looking for from the Poppy. It was kind of demonstrated well in that fight. Shuts down the Alistar engage, also shuts down the playmaking from that Lee Sin.
There's actually a really Xayah favorite interaction between her and Lee Sin as well. Because the Lee Sin kick to the damage graph, that's just oof, obviously, in its own right. But Lee Sin, during the quarter-second cast animation, actually roots the target. So you actually cannot, reactively arcane shift or reactively, rock jump a Triss
but
because
you can also root.
But exactly, Xayah ult can fly up in the air through a root. Weird as it looks, is possible. So he can see Lee Sin coming in. Cody Sun can hit R during that animation. It's an instant cast and is suddenly untargetable. No longer can be kicked, and it makes it much easier to survive all these things. And you have to basically blindside the Xayah if you want to get that kick. So kind of unfortunate for Dardoch, but it's just not a viable target most of the time.
Yeah, that makes it really tough though, right? Because who do you go for? It has to be Cody or it has to be Ryu, and Cody really is that big target. And you can say, oh, well, you should use something else first and make him waste it and then do it. But there's a Poppy peeling. There's, so many people peeling for him, like the Rakan and the ChoGath. So you're gonna get silenced, you're gonna get stunned. So you do have to be able to pull it off very quickly. He did in that topside fight, as we will remember. And there will be opportunities perhaps where he can get it with a kick flash or something a little bit more unexpected perhaps. But it's definitely going to be tough for him. If 100 Thieves have that straight front-to-back fight with those frontliners, soaking up a lot of damage as Anda was able to do, Cody Sun is going to be a huge threat. And, he's already on 2 items, has the Executioners to deal with both Mundo and the Swain. This is a really, really nice point in the game for him.
Scaling, just continuing on though. 100 Thieves, 5,000 gold up and an uncontested Cloud Drake left for them. So Anda gonna knock that one down, and as we're seeing, is going towards full tank. Has parts of a Knight's Vow as well as parts of a Stone Plate. So he's in a really good spot here to play that front line safely. As we're mentioning, that backline looks solid. And early Executioners calling in for Cody Sun. Morellanamacon done for Ryu as well.
Yeah, I really like that.
Items. Yeah,
having double healing debuff, may seem somewhat redundant, but I think it's so important to always have it on Swain, always have it on this Mundo, because they get such tremendous amounts of health back throughout a team fight. If one person cannot hit them or one person gets knocked down, having that secondary healing debuff is very, very, very big.
Lee Sin caught sleeping on the job, but it's okay. His eyes were closed.
Couldn't even see it coming.
Ah, that was better than mine. Good job, Azael. I'm proud of you. Keep it up, man.
It sounded like you were going to diss me, but then you're like, I like
No, that was actually good. I actually respect that a lot. That was fun. Either way, still 5,000 gold ahead. It's a very good thing. So Echo Fox are going into their 1-3-1, though. You mentioned the split push style coming through for the Yasuo. You even got demolished here. And I kind of sad that Huni threw the cleaver, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have taken aggro and could have simply gone for the extra hit on that turret, done 600 damage with one final headbutt. Maybe the better choice. Really minor regardless, but that 1-3-1, Huni's putting in the side lane, Damonte on the other, and then the Swain trying to wave clear.
And Huni probably just nervous that there's maybe another member behind him showing up, so doesn't want to risk it. But yeah, I mean, if Damonte can get to a point where he has, his Bladed Rune King, he has this PD, gets the IE, Frozen Mallet, all this sort of stuff, sure, he can probably slam Ssumday in a 1v1 in a side lane, maybe be able to actually take him down. But they are very far away from that, and 100 Thieves also have good engage to force the issue around the rest of the team, because they do have Xayah Rakan that can really start things off, and that can obviously tank up for a tower dive. So it's going to be tough for them to kind of hold on if their answer is going to be split push and kind of side laning until they can close that gold gap.
They gotta find their way into that gap, though. It's not like they have the... I mean, they have pretty good pick, to be honest, though. Yeah. They do have, Lee Sin and Alistar to find flanks and try to get burst off. So if that's possible, that's good for them. 100 Thieves, though, tend to have played very good at a controlled style, though, so those gaps might not be there.
And the vision, right? There's 3 pink wards around that Baron Pit, 400 Thieves. If Echo Fox doesn't have vision control and they really have no wards across the river whatsoever, then it's hard for them to get those picks, right? Because if 100 Thieves knows where you are, you can't make it happen. And that is what the early game was about, with Anda actually tracking Dardoch on the Lee Sin, and that's what this is about now, too.
Well, slow into Ssumday. Could be a decent chase time with a couple of cleavers landing, but drives that coming down, puts the wind wall up. But first on a Dardoch, half HP now on Lee Sin, who is going towards damage, by the way. Black Cleaver's second item halfway in the inventory, so will not be a tank ever, and eventually will get one shot by that Zoe if he's not too careful. Quick scouting vision of Empire from Lost and back to the split push.
I think 100 Thieves start up Baron here. I think you start it up and you try to get the TP out. We'll see if they actually decide to commit for it, but I think that may be the correct choice. You can't just ignore Huni on the bottom side. You know he has Demolish. You're going to be giving up a turret. They're hoping that they can actually just get a turn and fight. For now, we'll see what happens.
He's drowsy and down really low, and ult's actually late as well. It's the worst of all worlds. Smoothie
now they
heavily injured, missing an ultimate. He's out of this fight. Huni gets that kill finally on the bottom side. First turret on the board for Echo Fox, but look at this. It's an uncontested Baron at the very start of this one. No Blast Cone either. Ryu now gets the Blast Cone just in time. Dardoch can knock down the red. Right now, there is some vision. Now gone. 6,000 health on the Baron.
Huni's TP. Here it is.
It's going to start. Lots of wards in the pit. And it kicks back the jungler, but they're not going to go for the commit just yet. Maybe they could have burned it down, and maybe they still will try. But they're giving time for Lee Sin to rejoin the fight. 100 Thieves now. Are they going to get that battle? Huni taking damage from Baron and stuck inside the pit. He can. Only get out with a flash. A double knock up for the Rakan. Big damage. The silence across as well. And Dardoch is gone. The chomp coming through. A second one across already. 5v3 in this fight. And Damonte is forced to run away. Gets a double knock up, but does he have enough damage? He's ignited. He's silenced. He's got to go down. Aphromoo get himself another kill. It's 3 for 0, and Laz is just running. But this is what that game might be for Echo Fox. The fourth kill comes through. 11 to 400 Thieves. Complete control.
The clean 4 for 0. 100 Thieves with a perfect setup. They will get this Baron here too. They have the smite. Dardoch is dead. Huni is not even going to try. And 100 Thieves have full control over this game. This is really clinical around the Baron from them.
With 4,000 health left on Baron, no one is around. It's going to be picked up cleanly. The chomp, and it's nowhere close, of course, for Ssumday. The spike comes through. Gold lead 8,000 in the reset now for a game-warping push.
Yeah, just such good stuff from them. Seeing Huni on the bottom side, not only did they chunk out Alistar, get his ultimate, they force in the TP, they have Huni locked in this pit, and it's already a very awkward fight. Smoothie has no ultimate, he's at low health. Huni is locked in the Baron pit. Aphromoo is baiting on this pick ward. The double knockup into the knockup from ChoGath there. Cody Sun following with that Featherstorm, gets the ultimate, the pull through, multiple roots there, and everyone just gets shredded. That was such a good CC chain from Cody Sun, Ssumday, and Aphromoo there onto multiple members, and they were already starting the fight at such a disadvantage that once that goes wrong, there's no chance to win it. So Echo Fox now, it's just praying for the split push, praying he can hold out, but it's going to be tough with this Baron buff.
And sadly, the Lee Sin gamble did not pay off for Echo Fox. He got outpassed in the early game, and now in the 0-4-3. Dardoch has been one of the very best performers on Echo Fox, and having one of his worst games so far here as bot lane tier 2 falls, 5 turrets to 1. Fox has found almost nothing so far in this game. Of course, the push will continue. 2 minutes and change still left in this buff, so a lot to go for. A quick root, a pullback on ChoGath, but look at the engage. They're happy to go for that one, and down goes Huni. The biggest tank is gone already, and Alistar to follow. 2 for 0 into the base. They run. 100 Thieves looking for a very quick one in this one. 28 minutes and rushing down absolutely everything. The turret's falling. The inhibitor will drop as well. 100 Thieves sure to take this one down.
Just absolutely slamming through Echo Fox there. Cody Sun has the IE completed, making easy work of that front line. Dardoch going to try something, but this one is over.
I'll add some of the damage stats, but another death in the column. 15 to 4. 100 Thieves take control of second place. They will be challenging Team Liquid for the top spot, with the finalists from Spring on top here today.
And looking so good against some of their toughest competition here in Echo Fox. 100 Thieves clearly establishing themselves as a step above Echo Fox today. They played very well. I think the Poppy pick was kind of a master stroke there from Anda, from Probably, whoever decided to actually lock that in. It works so damn well at shutting down the playmaking from 100 Thieves, and I think Anda really set the pace of this game. He tracked Dardoch nonstop. He was able to take away multiple sets of those Raptors, and really got himself a good advantage, and it just felt too hard for Echo Fox to make the plays they needed when they had to fight through Poppy, through ChoGath, through Rakan. It just didn't seem possible.
Yeah, incredibly good team fighting behind the Thieves. Fun stats to bring out. This is the first time with this lineup they have a winning record playing non-funnel. They were 3-3 with that coming into the day. They had started 0-2 when they tried it out. Slowly but surely they figured out what they wanted to do with this lineup here. And of course they are alone in second and only half a game behind Liquid in first. Echo Fox 3-2 on this roster, and those wins are all actually against teams with negative win rates for the most part. I should say actually for the most part, not all of them. But yeah, that idea of maybe Echo Fox being their ceiling of being the best team in the league. I mean, this was, of course, a very rough game for them. And with 3 to play, we have to see if they can hold on to a bye. Right now, it's out of their control.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, it does bring up some more questions, right? You know, Lost, I think, has looked very good on marksman. They bring out this style. I think he played fine, but obviously was not dominant by any means. And to me, it's a tough game to judge because I thought Huni played pretty well. It seemed like the bot lane was doing fine. Yeah. But it just, to me, felt so much about the junglers. And I felt like Anda just straight up did way more than Dardoch. The fact that Lee Sin was never able to even get any ganks off early, that he was getting out-leveled and out-farmed by a Poppy who was just worth so much more and shut down so much of the playmaking of 3 of the characters and can knock out, you know, 2 of the characters who need their ultimates. It's just, it was domination from Anda.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I thought he had one of his best games, if not his best game so far on 100 Thieves, if not of his LCS career. I thought he was absolutely wonderful here today. And yeah, just a deserved win for 100 Thieves where individual plays were the difference. And you know, the overall team never left up control. Beautiful stuff. But for now, we're going to hand it off to Avli for an interview with the victorious 100 Thieves support.
Thanks, guys. Quick win for 100 Thieves today. Aphromoo, congratulations on your victory for the battle for second. I just wanted to ask you, I mean, what if, depending on the rest of the games for today, you guys may be able to lock in a spot for playoffs. So what would locking in mean for the team?
Locking it in, definitely something we wanted to have. But right now we're practicing for playoffs. So we're doing our best to have clean games. Our scrims are very intense, I would say, very frustrating and stuff like that. Happy we can pull out the win today.
I want to ask you, some of the big news for this week was Zix actually leaving CLG, and having worked with him for so many years, what do you think about his departure?
Sucks, but Tony's a great coach, and definitely think he's one of the best NA coaches that we have. He's going to find a home no matter what, and for me leaving CLG and him leaving CLG, I know how he feels and stuff like that. I talked to him after he left, and he's pretty sad, but he's doing okay. He's going to be here for the CLG TSM match, so you'll see him around.
So looking at that match, if CLG is able to beat TSM today, you guys lock for playoffs. So as an old leader on that team, what do you think they need to change in order to pull off these wins?
Well, CLG definitely has insane early game, like every game. From playing against them, their mid game is very wonky, where they're all off balance and stuff like that. I think just because they don't have someone that is very decisive and what they want to do. I think a lot of them all have their own ideas and stuff like that, but if they can snowball really hard in the early game and take that and go for the win, it's probably their best bet. Other than that, TSM still is looking pretty good, even though they got backdoored by FlyQuest last week. But my vote's on CLG.
Do you think there's anyone on CLG right now who could step up and maybe take on a shot calling role?
It's really hard. If you've never done it before, I don't think you can like automatically do it in like the first time you've taken on that role. So from my perspective, I definitely value him as like being able to shot call and stuff like that. So I thought it would be him for the last 2 splits, but it seems they're still having a little bit of troubles, and it's a hard thing to focus on where it's like your play versus shot calling. So usually if you focus on one, the other one falters. And I think they're just trying to find the balance and stuff like that.
Well, Aphromoo, thank you and congratulations again on your victory. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Some thoughts from Aphromoo as they take down EchoFox in a very decisive victory between 2 teams tied in the standings, vying for second place. They didn't make it look like a second-place matchup.
Yeah, and looking back in the record books a little bit, the very first time these teams played in spring, EchoFox won. The next 4 times they have now played, 100 Thieves has won. So I definitely feel now like 100 Thieves has kind of proven they have EchoFox's number. Huni's never been able to take over games against them, specifically the way they shut down Dardoch here. And this was probably, I would say, one of the cleanest games I've seen 100 Thieves play all split.
They looked real good. And Mark, I tasked you with EchoFox's win conditions in the countdown. And so we're gonna pull those up as a reminder. You pointed specifically to the LPL style counter pick on red side. Did they do that?
No, not at all. And this is like the quintessential why NA sucks on red side game. And it's like, okay, you got a worse 5v5 team comp. They very heavily indexed into that. You have a Lee Sin for jungle. They have a Poppy who's going to outperform you. They have the Xayah Rakan. And with their last pick into an enemy tank, they opt for a frontlining team fight champion that doesn't necessarily like smash the matchup. Like, why are you doing that? One, it's not a good counter pick, but it's fine if you had a better team fight, but you have a worse team fight. So I don't understand why that was like your final pick to try and secure you an edge. You're just opting into a losing situation. And we had Solo on the desk last week, and he was talking about how NA teams don't use their counter pick well. And this was a specific example he gave where he said a lot of teams will just opt into Mundo ChoGath because they don't know what they actually want to counter pick with, and they don't use their actual counter pick. And this is exactly what happened this game.
So to clarify specifically in this game, right, you're telling me that having seen the 5 picks from the side of 100 Thieves, and with only 1 pick remaining, Echo Fox should know that there is no pick in League of Legends that makes them a better 5v5, like 5v5 late to mid-game team comp.
No, for the most part. And if you want to pick a tank in the top side, pick one with setup for the Lee Sin so you can try and punish the ChoGath early if that's really what you're going to commit to.
Right.
Don't take Mundo, who's trying to like farm the lane out and then like might have pressure at certain points, but it's not going to have real kill threat pre-6.
Do you align with this in the thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Echo Fox of all teams should utilize the top lane counter pick.
Right.
I wonder if there is a little bit of behind the scenes things of Echo Fox wanting to prove that Huni can also play the Mundo well, because every time Huni's played Mundo, they've actually looked bad, and maybe they're trying to move on from Lucian or Quintop, which Quintop would have been amazing this game against ChoGath. He's actually played that matchup 2.5 years ago and decimated the ChoGath with it. He could still do that technically. It was very strange to see them just go so standard against a team that is way better than them playing that.
You know, it's funny too, because Ssumday is one of the other top laners who has been willing to pull out some of those very lane dominant picks like the Jace or something in situations where he's like, actually, it's just better for me to win my lane hard and get us some advantages than, take another scaling comp or matchup to hopefully team fight well.
Yeah, then you would have 3 lanes of pressure where Lee Sin can go bottom to follow up on a setup. He can go mid, or he can go top and try and find kills in any 3 lanes. Instead, the top's not an option. He went bottom, but he was tracked pretty heavily, and then mid just never really had any pressure.
Now, with that, we heard Azael mention it there at the end that Anda, had one of his best games here on that Poppy. We're going to roll through some highlights. You'll see some attention given to the top lane and an early lead picked up here for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, this is after Anda had done a lot of good counter jungling on Dardoch. This was one of the messier fights where I think, hey, maybe this is where Echo Fox could kind of make it back into the game. But even after this fight, they were still down 2,000 gold, which is much different than most Echo Fox games where they have lane counter picks and get that early game gold lead. This is the game where 100 Thieves had the lane pressure as well.
Yeah, they lost their mid lane turret early on from that pressure from the Zoe as they never found the Lee Sin Yasuo combo on kills. And then as you get into these team fights later on, it just seems utterly hopeless for them to try and win these fights. You see how much better CC combos they have on the side of 100 Thieves, and they're able to just clean these fights up without really breaking a sweat.
Yeah, this fight right here was actually really funny because Huni completed this teleport in the back of the pit, and instead of 100 Thieves just immediately forcing him to flash out the back, which they could have done, they just kind of let him hang around at the Baron pit.
Like, hey there,
and
Mundo.
that drew Echo Fox into the fight, which 100 Thieves was clearly going to win from the start.
Very, very clearly going to win that. So I want to now kind of pull back because you mentioned a point about maybe Echo Fox is trying to prove that Huni, can play tanks, or hey, Huni has even, in some opinions, been an underperformer for this team, this split, and so maybe they're trying to cover for a weakness. We could hypothesize till the cows come home as to why it is they're picking this. But I want to ask the question about what should team strategy be in the closing weeks of the regular season when you're looking towards the playoffs? Because Aphromoo spoke about looking for cleanliness. They are focused already on being in the playoffs and making sure that their game and their style is exactly what they want it to be when they get there. For a team like Echo Fox, do they need to be able to play this team fight? Do they need to be able to play standard? Or can they just say, no, let's go do that, crazy skirmish, 2v2s, 3v3s, and never group, and, push aggressively to win games?
I think it's fine to try 2 different styles. I just don't think you should ever take a bad draft to practice a style. You're just going to get bad practice then. So if you're trying to prove yourself as a 5v5 team fight team, then you have to pick an even or winning 5v5 team fight comp. Otherwise, you're just practicing losing, which I don't think anyone wants to do.
You don't want to do that, Mark?
No, I don't know why you would be like, we got to practice our 5v5 guys. Let's take Yasuo and Lee Sin and then not find any combos early and then go up against a Xayah. I don't know.
Don't do this again.
Don't do this again.
Yeah.
There you have it. Expert analysis.
Play to your strengths or actually work to improve your weaknesses. Don't half-ass it. Like the Lee Sin with the Mundo is a mix of 2 different things. The Lee Sin Yasuo is supposed to take over early. The Mundo is supposed to be there for late.
Right. Even in this loss, you don't really learn much.
Yeah, you learn
didn't give yourself the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, as soon as they came out of that draft, you know, Jet and I were talking. I was like, great, they like got the Yasuo for the Zoe. That kind of works with the Lee Sin. You might be able to make some plays. Plus, you got the Alistar Swain. Like all this is like coming together. I see it.
And now you have a Mundo.
And then the Mundo comes in. I was like, wait, what was their game plan?
All right, so unfortunately, not following Mark's win conditions here at the top of the day results in a loss for Echo Fox, but a big win for 100 Thieves as they narrow in on locking in a playoff spot. Game 1 is in the books. After the break, though, Cloud9 load onto the Rift opposite Golden Guardians. Don't touch that browser.